So at my job, I have talked about the people that work there at various points, the things they do. Um, I mentioned that there's two managers I really cannot stand. The lead manager who came there about 7 or 8 months ago, within the past year, and the manager that does the schedules, who I think is also, quite frankly, incompetent. Roughly 2 to 3 weeks ago, I was cleaning stuff and they told me to go on a break. And if there's a lot of people there, a lot of traffic, they try to have someone to cover you while you're on your time of leisure. And while I'm on this break, I come back, at the conclusion of it, and see where the guy who has taken over for me is putting things in the wrong place. Now, with most stuff, it would just be like a slap on the wrist, whatever. But in the case of the things we were dealing with, there's always the concern of, contaminating things. Just stuff that's not supposed to be touching each other or in certain places is not conducive to a clean work environment, as they would say. And the more I thought about him and just how he had made this mistake, and it was an honest mistake, and I didn't try to chastise him because we all make mistakes. I thought about how the manager's office is right behind where they had us cleaning stuff. And the second manager I can't stand, right, the one that does the schedules, is sitting in the office. She has roughly 14 screens of like on her 14 different camera angles on her screen showing her all the different security surveillance stuff they have, and she can't turn her back to see that this guy is doing something that's not only incorrect but also claimed as being dangerous by them. And what's even crazier is that when she eventually came out of her pod, right, this little room they call the office, she walked right past this guy while he was putting things in the wrong place, and just said nothing, just no comment, so caught up in whatever little BS she was getting ready to do that she didn't even think to say anything to him. Didn't register, just walked past him like nothing of any consequence was occurring. And in that same shift, because I mentioned my job used to give us free food, right? And then I stopped eating there altogether after they kept screwing with my discounts with these little dumb loopholes. So the one thing I could still get for free was a soda, a drink. But there was a problem. I went to the machine to try getting something after I heard that they didn't have any ice. And I started to like realize as I poured a drink that and drank some of it, that the soda was flat. And I thought about it and I said, this is a restaurant where they have a freezer that you could probably stick anywhere from 5 to 7 people in. It's pretty massive. It makes no sense that they could not just have someone take a barrel, pour some water in it, put it in the freezer for about maybe an hour, and then crunch up the pieces, right, with whatever little thing they use to smash them up, and then put it inside of the area where they would serve have one of those self-serving machines. I mean, it's crazy. Like you have a freezer, but you run out of ice. You have a freezer that is so damn cold. I can't even go in there to retrieve something like because they have the back part, I think, is at 100, and it must be at like 20 or 30 degrees. It's so cold that I have to put my gloves on to even be able to just like be in there for any protracted time. That's how like frozen a lot of the stuff in there is. But somehow with a place that has a freezer that's that big, that massive, they ran out of ice. And man, when you're working, like at least trying to work hard, you're sweating, whatever, and you just want to sit back, enjoy a cold drink, and you can't do that because your stupid job and its incompetent managers cannot be coordinated enough to simply remember to make some ice. It really shows you just the depravity of the people that work there. And then when you start to factor in of like, okay, putting like my own thing as just a perpetually disgruntled employee to the side, you have a lot of customers that would go there and go inside and try to eat something. Like imagine again, you pay, what is it, 14, 12, 13, $14 for your meal, which, we already talked about how overpriced this nonsense has become. And after paying all that money just for your little stupid meal, you can't get a damn soda with ice because they don't have any ice. They ran out of it. They and you're gonna have to wait maybe an hour or a few hours before they will try to make sure it doesn't happen again. And this is why I get so irritated when we talk about all the job related stuff, because people, like, if you're struggling to get a job and you're dealing with the antagonistic crop that is on this site, they tell you things about how you're underqualified and you should maybe it's the types of jobs you're applying for. It's like, look at the people that are in management positions. They don't have these jobs because they're such effective leaders who are always able to meet the demands of the place they're working for. A lot of the chicks that have them actually get it from giving some triangle to the different managers that are ahead of them. But that's a story for another day. Really, I just get annoyed because the only thing that keeps them in their job is the simple fact that they are willing to show up for their 9 to 5 and count some money, and like appear to be in charge when they're really not. That's why you can have this bimbo sitting up in the office hour after hour after hour while they run out of something that people should never have a lack of a surplus of, which is ice. And no criticism is levied at her for such a basic thing being missed and her not like catching on to it. I mean, it's insane. But that's, again, goes back to my point of how, just because someone is a manager, just because someone has a job that puts them in a leadership position doesn't mean they're a leader, doesn't mean they're able to effectively run things. Because even if you were to just say, oh, well, the ice thing is like whatever, you also have to remember that she was sitting right behind a guy that was breaking the protocol of the place and said nothing to him either. Just sat right there while he's screwing up and made no acknowledgement of it at all, either because she didn't want to or because she didn't see it. I think she truly just did not notice because she's so caught up in her own stupid stuff that she can't actually manage the place effectively. But man, when you watch stuff like that, it really shows you just how people do not have to be good at their job. With some of these positions, if you do the bare minimum of like, okay, I'm a manager, so I count money, I tell people to go on their breaks, I could take some orders, that's all you need. And it's sad because you're sitting here jumping through all these hoops, always feeling like you're not good enough for the little stupid places you get hired by, but then the people who are comfortable in their positions aren't even good at it.